The oddity of rape and gender-based violence transcends the trauma to a depiction of the degeneration of our moral values and the poor treatment of issues affecting the female gender. Here is an opportunity to examine our behavior and beliefs. Flow 94.9 FM in partnership with National Human Rights Commission, Abia State, and Vika Hope Foundation presents a virtual multi-sectoral interaction on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation. Speakers include President, Vika Hope Foundation, Deaconess Nkechi Ikwazu, Abia State Commissioner of Police, CP Janet Agbede, Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Nwokocha, Abia State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihediwa, and a former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, Dr. Blessing Wagba. Date, Friday, 10th July 2020 at 1 p.m. This discussion will be streamed live on Flow FM TV, various social media platforms, and aired live on Flow 94.9 FM and other radio stations. Plug in and let's unmask the monster.
Rape is like cancer. It has no respect for age, sex, or race. It starts from a spot and then gradually spreads to the entire body system. While spreading, it steals a victor's pleasurable desires, purposeful drive, and prospective dreams, and in many cases, life. It causes one to start questioning their beliefs and reasons for resistance. Without any invitation, a feeling of worthlessness creeps in. Rape is like a song track placed in repeat. The incident keeps on happening long after it has happened. With each replay, the hands and the words turn to blades, cutting and creating an indelible scar long after tissue healing may have taken place. There is a rape pandemic ravaging the country. Media reports show that some men have gone crazy over illegal sex and have resorted to actions with the other sex. Some prey on children, some perpetrators are family. They prey on little girls, sometimes as young as 3 months. Daddies rape their daughters. For some daughters, it has become routine, having gone on. It has become a routine, having gone on for years, and the girl child involved becomes both as a victim and a partner of sorts because it continues into adulthood. There have also been shocking reports on social media about men raping and killing their victims, ostensibly to cover up the crime. A lady was killed in Ibadan because she refused to be raped. Groups have taken to streets to protest the upsurge in rape cases. State governors have declared an emergency on rape matters. It is a serious matter now in the crisis mode, and it deserves all the attention that a nation can give. Any father who has girls feels the fear of his dear daughter being violated someday. But there are some disturbing questions which we should answer now that the issue has caught national attention, and these questions we will be providing some answers to this morning or this afternoon. Why the sudden upsurge in rape cases? Does it have any connection with the lockdown? Or has the society simply become more aware and liberal as to report incidents which had always been hidden? Have we always reported rape cases? Have we done away with the stigma that comes with rape? How do families handle rapes? What has become of the idea of tabooed actions? How do rape victims deal with the often traumatic experience? Are rapists punished in Nigeria? Well, these questions we will provide answers to this morning. Welcome to this special discussion on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation. This interaction is organized by Flow 94.9 FM in collaboration with Vika Hope Foundation and National Human Rights Commission, Abia State. It's a virtual conversation, and we shall be speaking with different stakeholders to get multiple perspectives to the issue on ground. My name is Michael Oni.
And my name is Chichi Umbesaka. Interesting. I mean, the intro says it all. And for me, I'm also very eager to hear the answers, because I know a lot of people have been asking what are the punishments we need to know so that people can sit up. Okay, we have people to do justice to the lots of questions that we have. Like I said, my name is Chinemema Umbesaka, and we have as our resource persons on this visual conference the president of Vika Hope Foundation, Deaconess Nkechi Ikwazu, who is also the mommy of the state. I can't leave that out. Thank you so much, ma'am. But she's not here. She's heavily represented by the programs manager of Vicar Hope Foundation, Mr. Raymond Okwa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we also have the Abia State Commissioner of Police, CP Janet Abede. We are going to get her much later over the phone. We have right here in the studio the Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Mukocha. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are going to call him much later, Abia State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihedoa, also represented by the Director of Public Prosecution, Barrister Ngozi Obioma, and former member of Abia State House of Assembly, Dr. Blessing Wamba. We'll definitely get them much later. I think we're just going to go.
Of course, we go straight to the conversation. Very, very important conversation this afternoon. And of course, you can catch us live. You can catch us on our various social media platforms, Flow FM TV on YouTube, and also on Facebook page. We're streaming live, www.facebook.com/Flow949FM. And also, we're also streaming live the audio on Radio Garden, of course, on our website, www.flow949fm.com.
Okay, without wasting much time, let's go to you. We're coming to you, ma'am. We want to know what just help us establish what constitutes rape and gender-based violence.
Let me start with rape. Rape has been defined in our criminal code, section 357 of the Criminal Act 2014. It says, any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a woman or girl without her consent, or with her consent if the consent is obtained by force or by means of threats or intimidation of any kind or fear of harm, or by means of fraudulent mispresentation of the nature of the act, or in the case of a married woman, by personating her husband, is guilty of an offense called rape and liable to imprisonment for life, with or without caning. We have another definition of rape in section 218 Criminal Code Act. It says any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a girl under the age of 13 is guilty of a felony and liable to imprisonment for life, with or without caning, and this we call a defilement.
Okay.
Then we have another section of our law, the Child's Rights Law, defines who a child now is. The criminal law said under 13, but here in the Child's Rights Act, we have a definition of who a child is, and it says a child is a human person under the age of 18, and that such a person lacks the capacity to consent to sex. There are also other provisions and protections in VAP. VAP is a Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and I understand we have a Violence Against Persons Prohibition law in Abia State. Abia State has such a law. That one is broader. Section 1 of it is broader in defining what sexual offenses are actually. It includes, the criminal code did not say anything about the male being raped.
Because I was actually coming there.
Exactly. But in the VAP,
Okay.
it clearly states that a man can also be raped.
Okay.
And I believe that a man can be raped.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is it. But we need to talk about the ingredients of rape. I've spoken of one ingredient, that a child lacks the capacity to consent to rape. Because the key thing about rape is consent. Where there is no consent, we may be dealing with an issue of rape. It doesn't need to be bloody, it doesn't need to be by force, it may be by trick.
Okay.
Because at times some guys will lace the drinks of babes with something, and they may not be conscious of what is going on. Equally says with a person of unsound mind is regarded as rape, because the person is of unsound mind, and somebody that is of unsound mind cannot give consent because the person doesn't understand what is going on. That is a presumption of law and of fact too.
Sorry, let me try to get something clear. There are people that are wondering what is unsound mind. We need to say it in plain English.
Unsound mind means somebody that is mentally challenged.
Okay, like imbecile or
the person is an imbecile.
Okay.
The person is some people mad.
okay,
We call them mad people.
okay,
They cannot give consent.
They lack the capacity by law.
Okay.
They lack the capacity.
okay.
You mentioned married too. I want you to break it down. That's
Okay.
your examples.
Aha. We say that there is another law, the Matrimonial Causes Act, that say that a man cannot rape the wife, that a man cannot be accused of raping the wife.
That's the husband.
Yes, the husband cannot be accused of raping his wife.
Okay.
Unless where there is separation,
Okay.
judicial separation. They may be still married, but towards getting divorced, and they were asked to live apart from each other. If there is, if a woman in that state complains of a rape by the husband, the man may actually be found guilty of rape. But, like I said, this is equally very arguable. If we understand that the key thing to rape is consent.
Exactly.
Once
That's the key word.
the key word there is consent. Is there consent? If there is consent, then it cannot be rape, provided that the person who give the consent is legally equipped to give such a consent. Of course, you cannot tell me that a child of 15 years consented to have sex with you. I mean, the law says he is incapable of giving consent. You cannot also say that a woman that is known to be an imbecile consented to sex with you. The law says this person is incapable of giving consent. You can equally say that the mad woman that is picking rubbish from the dustbin consented to sex with you. The law says that such a person is incapable of giving consent to sexual intercourse. So if you find yourself in such a situation, you are involved with a mad person, or we are involved with somebody under the age of 18, you better be very, very careful. You better warn yourself, because you may soon be cited as having been engaged in a rape or defilement, because such a person lacks the capacity to give consent to sexual intercourse or sexual relationship of any type.
Okay, ma'am. The second question quickly is help us connect between consent, human rights, and other economic factors. I mean, some of these things, they make it difficult for people to report rape. What do you have to say there?
I will say that you are very much right. Let's talk about some economic consideration. And that is why we say that it can be obtained by trick. Okay, if you ask somebody to come to your office or come to your house, a child you know that is in need, maybe needs money to buy a common entrance form, or to pay for the WAEC certificate, WAEC examination, then you tell her, come to my house, I will give you the money. And she gets there, and her exam is coming, is between the devil and the Red Sea, and you say, okay, I'll give you this money provided you concede and sleep with me. And she said, okay, since that is what it takes to get the money, hurry up, sir, let's do it as fast as you can, so you give me the money. She lacks consent. It is not a defense that she consented. Even if she goes to you pleading, I want it provided you give me money, if you are caught at it, you're in trouble, because of course the person lacks the capacity. Your defense cannot be she consented.
What about the university undergraduates who they are looking for grades?
Exactly.
And maybe they are over 18.
Even if the person is 37.
Okay.
The law has come out now, say as far as the person is your student, is a student in the university, she cannot consent to having sex with you. That is the law.
Okay.
Whether she comes to you begging, sleep with me and give me a mark, you better be careful, because if it comes out that you actually slept with her, either from her or from somebody else, and the fact is established that she is 37 years, will not solve the problem.
Okay.
Because the law has come out now to say the person is incapable of giving consent.
What of I know I'm just trying to take questions from the minds of a lot of people that are listening to us. What of people, I mean, job, they're in a job and they is being threatened by their boss and say, if you don't sleep with me, you're going to lose this job. They are above 18. Can they also ride on this and say, I was raped?
Not?
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
The person can complain.
Okay.
And once the person complains, everybody will start looking at that particular boss. It is not, I don't subscribe to you do it and complain later. My own subscription is you complain as early as possible.
And once do it.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Unless you, of course, you want to do it. Like I said, there is consent. We all adults. Adults can consent to sex. It is legally permissible. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, Barrister Uche Nwokocha, you've talked about consent. Very, very important. So, what age is legal for consent?
Above 18. Provided the person is of sound mind.
Okay.
Above 18. Provided the person is of sound mind.
Okay, good. You've listed examples of rape, some of the categories of what we can term rape in Nigeria. What are the available punishments for rape in the country?
Life imprisonment.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not sure a lot of us know about this.
That is the maximum.
Okay.
Life imprisonment. Life imprisonment. That is the maximum. Once the status states a punishment, it means that is the maximum.
Okay.
But the court may give lower than that, depending on the facts before the court. For instance, if I'm a judge and you tell me the truth of what you've done, I may, be much lenient to you in giving you punishment.
Okay.
But if you lie to me and then eventually it is proved that you actually committed the offense, when you have wasted the time of everybody and that of the court, I may be tempted to give you the maximum punishment.
Okay. I'm not sure a lot of us know because I think I'm hearing this for the first time. When was it established? Or has it been there?
It has been there. Like the criminal code I quoted was 2004.
Wow.
And it was when it was last reviewed, to my knowledge.
Wow. Okay.
All right, it is still the special discussion on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation interaction organized by Flow 94.9 FM in collaboration with Vicar Hope Foundation and the National Human Rights Commission in Abia State, and of course a virtual in conversation, and we are going to be talking to other stakeholders. We've been talking with the Abia State Coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Nwokocha. And of course, we have the President of the Vicar Hope Foundation, Dickiness Nkechi Pazu. And of course, very well represented by the Programs Manager of Vicar Hope Foundation, Mr. Raymond Ukwa, in the studio this wonderful afternoon with this to talk much more on the issue of rape, the monster rape, as we find solutions to some of those questions we asked this afternoon before the start of the program.
Okay, so we have first we know that the Vicar Hope has been doing a lot. Can you help us throw more light?
Before now, the wife of the governor has been, of course, who is also the president of Vicar Hope Foundation. She thought it right, to it's in her responsibility to say to ensure that she provides some sort of protection for women, in Abia State. And so before, Vicar Hope Foundation came into play holistically, she's been doing interventions here and there. And last year, toward the end of last year, she thought it right to set up a response desk.
Okay.
That
was going to be my next question.
Yeah, she thought it right to set up a response desk that particularly tackles the issue of sexual and gender-based violence. So the response desk, I don't know if I'm.
Go ahead. That was going to be my next question. How can the victims of rape, how can they report?
So last year again, she launched what we call the GBV response line. GBV, that gender-based violence response line, which is like a phone number, and of course it has a WhatsApp communication. So whatever you deem fit, to access the line. So you could call, 24/7, and then you get, response. So the response desk has the mandate to, if the victim per se is still in the area of violence, we have the responsibility to maybe make sure that we extract the person from that environment at that point. And we've had some cases like that, but then we'll talk about that much later of what the backlashes has been. And then again, if the cases are reported to us, directly to the office, we also try as much as possible to create referral pathways to ensure that the person access, medical health care, of course, and then maybe the care from the police or justice systems.
Okay, so what, how has it been so far?
When we talk about GBV response, it's not roller coaster.
Gender-based response. Okay,
yes.
I want so that people,
gender-based violence. Or let me
violence,
just put yes,
so that people in the rural areas can.
So we talk about rape or your husband beating you or all those things. It's not just in the roller coaster when you try to do interventions around that, because then again there are some other cultural undertones to it. Okay. Right. And
can you explain a bit?
Okay,
the cultural.
So there's this case that a woman reported her husband had beat her a previous day. I'll talk about rape in the middle of all this. Has beat her a previous day, and she called. So a friend of hers who is in a Ebonyi State, she lives in Abia, called, and we went on the next day to the location she told us she was staying, and then we got there. The woman switched off her phone. And later in the evening,
she knew you guys were coming.
Yeah, she knew.
Wow.
I asked her, because then again, before we intervened, there are protocols. You ask the person, do you want us to really intervene in this case? She said yes, come along. I said okay. The next day I pulled the permanent secretary of Ministry of Women Affairs. We went to the police station, got some policemen, and then we came with feeder as well. When we went to the location, and the woman switched off her phone. Later in the evening, she sent me a message to say, I didn't want it to be that elaborate. I just wanted you to come and warn my husband. No, I mean, so
she saw you guys somewhere, like she
exactly. So there are some things, that the cultural undertone is that women are supposed to be silent about most of these issues, and even if it occurs in rape cases, they also expect us to settle out of court most times, or don't talk about it, and all that. I believe, these are part of, the undertones culturally around it.
Okay, so what kind of support do you give to victims of rape and gender-based violence in Abia State?
So one is that we have the medical attention. We take the person to hospital for medical examinations, and we are as much as try and to also take the person to when the medical examinations have been done, we take the case to the police. So with with the field pro forma medical evidence and all that. So we take the person to police, and then we also, as much as possible, provide support to ensure that both the suspect is arrested and the case is taken to court as well. So we monitor all this progress.
Okay.
And yeah.
I think I want to ask you, Ma. He talked about police. Do you think the police and the other security agencies are doing enough to boost the confidence of victims to come out with their stories? Do you think?
My answer to that is no.
Okay.
I said no because the police, primarily, from what we have, they lack the forensic equipment to investigate rape. Most of the time, they lack the forensic equipment. They depend mostly on stories told them by the victims and witnesses who are available. But rape is one crime that when people are planning, they don't often take along witnesses, somebody to observe and act as a witness. So because of this lack of forensic lab, or what I may call equipment, at times the police found it very, very difficult, particularly where it has taken some hours or where the victim has bathed. So they keep telling the victim, don't bathe, don't even change your clothes, don't change your underwear, come as you are. All these things are to help them, because if the victim bathes, but if it's where they have a forensic equipment, even if the person bathes 20 times, even if it's a year after, through the DNA and other things, it may still be established that this person had a sexual encounter with the other person. It is now for the person who is denying that he did not rape to say what part of his DNA is doing in the woman's or in the girl's body.
Okay.
So it is a difficult situation. These are the things that is making it very, very difficult, even impossible for the police. And this is the reason why most of the suspects will go free after all the stories have been told.
Very true.
And of course, the second thing is that a lot of, just like he said, there is a cultural undertone. Nigeria is a very patrilineal society. So a lot of officers, they come from our society. A lot of them do not see why a woman should complain that the husband has beaten her up. In short, in some religions in this country, they say that it's part of their religious practice that a man has a right to beat the wife up. So if you meet somebody from such a background and what you are telling her is that your husband beat you up or give you a few cuts.
That's a security official.
Or a few cuts with the machete. The person may think that it's nothing serious. You go home and settle with your husband.
Okay.
Of course, we don't overrule the problem of corruption that we have in our society. So that at times some corrupt officers may do certain things and make sure that cases do not go on as they should.
Okay, on this very special discussion on rape and gender-based violence, we told you earlier on that we will be speaking with different stakeholders. And of course, we have joining us on the phone a former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, Dr. Blessing Wangba. Good afternoon to you, Doctor.
How are you today?
We are fine. And my name is Michael. I have a colleague here in the studio, and we will be doing this together.
My name is Chinememo Mesaka, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
All right. As a former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, what are the available legislations to protect rape victims and women from gender-based violence?
I want to thank you for bringing this topic to the fore, for bringing it up for discussion at this time. It is actually the trending topic today. In fact, any call it any organization, radio, media house that's not talking about it is actually not focusing on the right thing. So I think you're on the right track, because the menace of rape in our country has become a very serious one, particularly with this COVID-19 that shut everybody down in the homes. Now, as a member of the House of former member of the House of Assembly, legislator, I know there are a number of legislations that have been passed both in Abia State and in Nigeria, to take care of this situation of rape and gender-based violence. I want to believe that you people must have explained to our listeners what rape means and what gender-based violence means.
Absolutely,
and of course,
we have.
Okay, maybe I go straight to your question then.
All right.
Okay, so we have what we call the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, what we call the VAP law. The VAP law was actually passed into law by the National Assembly in 2015 as a result of agitations for protection of persons against different forms of violence in the homes and in the society. You are aware that over time there were cases of killings, maiming of spouses, maiming of lovers, cases of lovers pouring acid on on others and all of that. So this law was passed at that time to avert this, to take care of this situation. And the law also provides compensation for victims of rape and gender-based violence, as well as protection of their rights. That is one law. There is also the Child Rights Act. And incidentally, it's important to note that this VAP law has just been domesticated in Abia State, which is a great one. I hear this law was passed not quite long ago, this year, by the Abia State House Assembly, for which I give them kudos. So you also have the Child Rights Act, which has also been domesticated by Abia State House of Assembly. I think that was in 2006 or so. So in this law, children are, if there is any case of sexual intercourse with a child, that amounts to rape.
Okay.
If you have any form of sexual intercourse with a child, that amounts to rape. Are you also aware of the law? Okay, go ahead.
Despite the passage of these laws that you've highlighted, we have
an increase.
We have an increase in the number of cases, rape cases in Nigeria. What, in your view, do you think the government can do?
Well, there are a number of things the government can do. You know that it's not enough to provide legal instruments. It's important that these legal instruments are implemented. First, the legal instruments have been implemented now. Have been brought to the fore, have been brought up. It's important that the Child's Rights Act is implemented. It's important that the birth law, though passed, is implemented. And the sexual harassment law or bill is not yet passed into law, which was passed by the Senate last week, and is yet to be done by the House of Reps. When it is passed into law, that it is implemented. We should also ensure that these laws, the agencies that are supposed to implement them, are penalized for non-implementation. For instance, the police. I overheard the last speaker talking about the patriarchal society we're in, where men don't even see rape as anything, which is actually what we suffered when we were in the House of Assembly. We brought up these legislations for passage, but because you have very few women in the House of Assembly, we were not really given attention. If you go to say, "Oh, madam, there's nothing wrong with this thing. There's nothing wrong with rape. There's nothing wrong with women whose husbands are taking up their properties. Husband relations are taking up their properties, widowhood rights problems, and all of that." So when you have very few women in the House of Assembly or in legislative houses, it's difficult to pass laws and get them implemented. So the police who are here are also part of the society. So we need to have stringent laws to ensure that these laws that are passed are implemented, to ensure that these security agencies actually pass the laws, implement the laws that have been passed. So that's one thing the government can do.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, do you think the society can actually get rid of this rape culture? Do you think it can be totally eradicated or curbed?
I don't think nothing.
What role can we play? If it's yes, what role can we play?
We can walk a long way to eradicate it. We can go a long way because it is talking. We are talking about it today. It is trending today because it's been seriously highlighted because of the cases we had a few years ago. If you talk of rape, they push you aside. So we need to just continue to have sensitization, continue to have advocacy on this, and we need to reorientate our young men to know that there is dignity in honor, there's dignity in respect, there's dignity in love. Teach our young ones the right values, so that when they imbibe them, they will no longer, because the patriarchy is affecting our men. They see it as show of force and dominance on the women. They see it as overpowering them and dominating over them, which is wrong. We need to reorientate our young ones, reorientate our men to know that they should love our women, care for them, and they'll reciprocate, and not to do it by force. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
We also need. Well, I wouldn't know what. We also need to see that the education, this is brought up in our schools. Sex education should be seriously imbibed in our schools. Yes, because if these children don't learn about it, they just go out there and meet these situations, they're handicapped. Then we should also teach our young ones, women particularly, to protect themselves. There are societies in the world today where they are taught taekwondo, they are taught karate, so that if anything happens, they know what to do. And some of them are taught to have things like spray, pepper spray, so that if anything happens, you have something to protect yourself and not be so vulnerable.
Yes, ma'am. Do you believe the boys also get raped?
Yeah, but I know that happens, but that is very, very, it's very rare. It's very rare. We know that men can be raped, but it's
I
very
say
rare.
no way.
No, we have read many things on that. There are few cases of rape by women, but the men, but that is trending because it's so prominent and so much of occurrence with the women by the men. You know?
Okay, ma'am.
So it's important that we teach our young ones. Then more important, we should have more women in the legislature, more women in the executive positions, because when they are there, they understand the problems more. The studies have shown that in case of crisis like this one, that women are more affected. So more women in leadership positions will enable implementation of some of these laws that have virtually not been implemented.
Finally, I know you are a busy person. Let's ask you this: stigmatization of rape victims and poor prosecution are believed to be
please.
major factors that fuel the spike in the act. How can we get over these challenges? We need your input.
Yes. To handle the issue of stigmatization, what we need to do is to see that we continue the advocacy and sensitization. Because if we stop talking about them, people will continue to shrink, people will continue to shy in, and nothing will be done about it. But we continue to hammer, sensitize people, continue to advocate on the need to report, on the need to come out and speak about it, on the need to avert stigmatization. You will see that over time, just like this situation that's happening in America now, Black Lives Matter. It's been there over the years, but you can see that it's now trending. It's now really being taken care of more seriously because the talk and the advocacy continued. So we must continue with this advocacy on the need to avoid the stigmatization of people who are affected. Then for our law enforcement agents, we would plead with them to understand that women or rape victims could be their wives, their sisters, their cousins, or whatever. So there's need for them to understand and feel the plight of we the women in the case of rape and this gender-based violence.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blessing Wagba, the former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, for lending your voice to this very important discussion on rape.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, well said, I will say. And of course, we have some questions on our Facebook page just before we continue the conversation. All right. Just before we continue the conversation, we have some questions on our Facebook page. And of course, let's head straight to the president of Vicar Hope Foundation, Dickiness Nkechi, well represented by the program's manager of the Vicar Hope Foundation, Mr. Raymond Ukwa. I saw you nodding when she mentioned and of course answered the question concerning a man being raped. Now, Wisdom Nwogu on our Facebook page says, please, my question is, can a woman rape a man?
Okay, yes, that is the answer. So a woman can rape a man. If you look at the conversations,
Go ahead.
I'm getting some reactions here already. Yes, so if you look at the definitions of rape around the conversations we are having here right now. So what if the focus for now is, so if don't seek for example, a lecturer shouldn't ask a girl for sex to pass her. So don't you think women are also asking younger guys for sex to pass them in university, for example?
Okay.
So if that happens, don't you consider it as rape? Must it necessarily be, surrounded by, around women or something like that? You need to create a balance in the conversation. If you really have to take society, moving forward, you need to create the balance, because then again, these same things are happening to men as well. But then the society is structured in such a way that when a woman shouts, it's heard more. But societal construct also tells the woman not to say anything, and that's why their voices are not being heard in the first place. Men are raped every other day. Men are forced and raped.
So the question is, why are you guys not talking?
So the question is society even willing to listen to the shouts of men in the first? Because the conversation, I'm sorry, the last 7 years of my life, I worked for women in the first place. I worked for women, I've talked about women, but then in the middle of that, men are still in the mid-center of everything that is happening. I'm sorry you're laughing about it in the studio. We are right.
I mean, you guys have to start talking about it before the society will not throw their voices back.
Exactly. So if I walk into a police station, just you talked about forensic evidence, if I walk into a police station and say a woman raped me, no, what will be the reaction of the policeman who is supposed to? Because I was about to say that it's also it doesn't work in both ways, right? Because it works in both ways. So the fact about stigmatization is there. If a woman walks into the police station to report rape, the policeman stigmatizes that woman. What were you wearing? Exactly. What were you doing? Exactly. Then if a man walks into that place to say, I was raped, a man like you raped, what were you doing? How can a woman rape you? But this is what is happening.
Sure.
Okay, barrister.
I think I must say that we're here overfired.
Oh, really?
Yes. We believe that I believe a man can be raped. And men have been raped. And investigations, they have reported and investigations have been carried on. But then men are raped by men. We know that we have men in our society that are homosexuals.
Yes.
Just
a moment. Men are raped
by men.
By men.
So sure. We cancel out that women cannot be raped by women.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Men are raped by men. Men are raped by men. Now, it is difficult to say a woman raped a man, unless, of course, where sexual consent is obtained by trick. If sexual consent is obtained by trick, or sexual favors is obtained by trick, then it is rape. Of course, it will be rape. You report it. It will be investigated. Yes. Now, when we come to school, and that is the one I want to correct. When we are talking about the law made by the House recently, we didn't differentiate female student and male student. Okay. We said students and we said lecturer, which means the student can be male or female. The lecturer can be male or female. Okay. Yes. So that we don't trivialize issues.
Absolutely.
Good.
Okay. You're still very much live on Flow 94.9 FM, and of course, it's a special discussion on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation interaction organized by Flow 94.9 FM in collaboration with Vicar Hope Foundation and the National Human Rights Commission. Now, let's go to another stakeholder as far as this rape monster is concerned now, as we move straight to the Abia State Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihediwa, that is being represented by the Director of Public Prosecution, Ngozi Obioma. Barrister Ngozi, glad to have you join us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Great.
You're welcome, Mom. Thank you for making our time to be here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have some questions here to throw at you. The first one is, what are available laws in Abia State for the prosecution of rape and gender-based violence?
Yes, in Abia State, we have the Criminal Code Law, the Child's Right Law of Abia State, and the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Abia State of 2017. I also want to add that the Abia House of Assembly has also passed the VAP law, when I say the VAP law, I mean the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. It is a bit more extensive than the other laws I earlier mentioned. All these are in the bid to see to the effective prosecution of rape-based cases.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is, how cooperative is the police and other agencies in terms of prosecution and investigation?
For somebody who is very much in the field, I would say that the police have been quite cooperative with the Ministry of Justice in their bid to investigate rape cases. It is true that they have limited resources, like some available equipment that ordinarily would have aided them in the course of their investigation. But even with the limited resources available to them, they still do their very best, and they are quite cooperative.
Okay, ma'am. I want to take you back to the first question that I asked. I want us to establish that there are available laws, because I know it's a bit confusing. A lot of people don't know that there are laws for this. Can you help us re-emphasize again? Hello?
Can you take it again?
Okay, yeah. I said I want to take you back to the first question that I asked you. A lot of our people don't know that there are existing laws, that there are available laws when it has to do with rape, violence against, gender and all that. Can you help me re-emphasize again, in case some people missed that?
Yes. I want to believe that the first course of action that a rape victim should take, or if the rape victim is a minor, that the parents should take, or the guardian of the rape victim should take, should be to report it to the police. So, and when that is done, it is for the police to conduct investigation and do the preliminary things, such as asking the rape victim to go to the doctor, because it is a major ingredient when trying to prove a rape case, that there should be a medical report to that effect. And when that is done, the police may now proceed to send a case file to the office of the Honorable Attorney General for prosecution by the Department of Public Prosecution. I believe that is also the essence of this sensitization program. I quite commend this program, because it is also a way of letting the public know that there are available laws that they can recourse to. But they cannot do that if these incidents are not reported to the police.
Oh, okay, ma. Sorry, let me cut you in here. I want us to have something to hold on to. Do we have how many years? Because it's easier to tell someone to report, but when we feel like we report and there's nothing that is going to come out of that, I mean, a lot of people will be scared to even start that conversation and go all out to, because it involves money and a lot of things. How many years, we are talking about Abia situation, that someone who is found guilty of this is likely to get?
Okay. Under the criminal code, it is life imprisonment.
Okay. I wanted us to establish that so that people that are listening will hear that. Life imprisonment. Okay.
Yes, it is life imprisonment, but the judge exercises discretion.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? The judge is not bound to impose the said sentence upon conviction.
Okay.
The judge may decide to impose a lesser number of years.
Okay. The final question, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry, you wanted to say something?
Your voice is echoing. Can you make it better, please?
I thought you wanted to say something.
Yes, what I was trying to say is under the child rights law, it is also life imprisonment. But under the VAP law, which has been passed by the House of Assembly, but we are waiting for the governor's assent, which I believe that our amiable governor will soon assent to, particularly in view of the fact that all the 36 governors of the states in Nigeria declared a state of emergency on rape and other gender-based violence against women and children, precisely on the 10th day of June 2020. So I want to believe that this law will soon be assented to. So, and I want to talk a bit about that law, the VAP law. We are talking about people being aware that there are laws, so that they can have recourse, to the justice system. The beauty of this VAP law is that unlike these other laws I earlier mentioned, which provide that only women or the girl child are capable of being raped, the VAP law made provision to the fact that even men can also be raped. And the VAP law also made provision to the fact that the instrument of rape must not be the penis. Unlike the other laws I earlier mentioned, the criminal code, the child rights law. But that other objects can also be used. Okay. And the VAP law also extended the scope of its jurisdiction to the fact that it must not be by penetration through the vagina as provided for in the criminal code and the child rights law. At the federal level we have the act, at the state level we have the child rights law.
Okay.
So they're basically the provisions are basically the same. The difference is that we now domesticated the Child Rights Act and we call it here in Abia State the Child Rights Law. So the VAP law provides provision to the fact that it can be assaulting the person sexually through the mouth.
Okay.
Or through any other part of the body.
Okay.
And this VAP law made some mandatory provisions. For instance, the judge may not be permitted to impose penalty of less than 12 years. It could be more, but not less than 12. Unlike this other, unlike the provisions of the criminal code and the child rights law, which made provision to the fact that it is life imprisonment, but the judge can exercise the discretion and can go as low as the judge deems fit.
Okay, ma'am. I think you've helped us to answer the question. We were a bit not like argument, but we are going back and forth if a man can be raped. I think that law has already answered that question. Finally, before we let you go, how easy is it for a rape victim to get justice in Nigeria?
Yes. Like I earlier said, the rape victim can easily get justice here in Nigeria if the rape victim makes bold to approach the appropriate authorities.
Okay, so let me ask again. Let me tweak the question a bit. Is it legally free? There are so many people that have been, raped, and maybe they don't have the resources, the money, and all that to be able to pursue this. So people need to understand if they approach a law firm or anybody to say a lot of people don't even know what is pro bono. Can people just go to a lawyer and say I was raped, can you help me? Can they get that legally free, that legal assistance?
Okay, thank you for the question. I want to say that the rape victim can approach FIDA.
Okay.
The International Federation of Women Lawyers.
Okay.
The Child Protection Agency. We are glad to know that the amiable wife of our governor, Nkechi Itazo, has the Vital Hope Foundation also.
Yes.
That has done a lot towards gender-based violence. And
Okay.
they have their hotline also.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, which I believe is made available to the public. So
Okay.
through these agencies, even if, and all these NGOs, even if a rape victim is not able to have easy access to private legal practitioners, I don't even see why a rape victim should go to private legal practitioners in the first place. They should simply report to the police, and from there, it will be taken up to the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Justice will take it up from there.
Okay, ma.
So,
We need to go on a short break, but I think I want to ask you this. We've seen situations where people, they report, and then people, maybe let me say the lawyers or the like Vika Hope, they are trying to do something, and then at some point the parents say they don't want again. In situations like this, what can like the justice system? What can the justice system do? Can they say this child is our own? You have no right to stop at this point? Quick one.
Yes, in Abia State, something has been done about that.
Okay.
That is under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Abia State, Administration of Criminal Justice Law of 2017. Now you ask me what has been done. You see, we are well aware that sometimes rape victims or their families or guardians may say that they don't want to continue with the matter. Sometimes it's because of the stigma, real or imaginary, which they think is attached to being a rape victim. And because of that, they will say they are no longer interested. And sometimes, because they wouldn't want their name, to be publicized. So what has the Abia State government done? Under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of 2017, there is a provision to the effect that the name of that rape victim should be shielded from the public. That is another provision.
Barrister Ngozi Obioma, Director of Public Prosecution representing the Attorney General, thank you very much for your time on this wonderful discussion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, you heard the position of the law. Of course, the Abia State Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche here, they were represented by the Director of Public Prosecution, represented by the Director of Public Prosecution. And of course, we need to take a break now. When we return, we take your calls. We are also going to take your messages. It's been about an hour discussion concerning this monster known as rape. And of course, you can call us on 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. We'll take the numbers again, but our Facebook page is very much on www.facebook.com/flow949fm, and also our Twitter page at flow949fm. 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. The message line 0906 510 8289.
The oddity of rape and gender-based violence transcends the trauma to a depiction of the degeneration of our moral values and the poor treatment of issues affecting the female gender. Here is an opportunity to examine our behavior and beliefs. Flow 94.9 FM in partnership with National Human Rights Commission, Abia State, and Vika Hope Foundation presents a virtual multi-sectoral interaction on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation. Speakers include President, Vika Hope Foundation, Dickiness Nkechi Ikwazu, Abia State Commissioner of Police, CP Janet Agbede, Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Nwokocha, Abia State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihediwa, and a former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, Dr. Blessing Wagba. Date, Friday, 10th July 2020 at 1 p.m. This discussion will be streamed live on Flow FM TV, various social media platforms, and aired live on Flow 94.9 FM, and other radio stations. Plug in and let's unmask the monster.
Well, we've had a very interesting conversation concerning the monster known as rape, as we're adding our voices to saying no to rape. And of course, you heard just before the break, the Abia State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihediwa, ably represented by the Director of Public Prosecution, Ngozi Obioma. She's also a barrister. And also, we've had in the studio the President of Vika Hope Foundation, Dickiness Nkechi Pazu, ably represented by the Programs Manager of Vika Hope Foundation, Mr. Raymond Ukwa, and also the Abia State Coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Nwokocha. It's time to take your questions and, of course, your contribution. You can also forward those questions to our various social media platforms, Flow 949 FM on Facebook and also on Twitter. And of course, you can be a part of the conversation by calling the studio phone lines at 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289.
It is calling from Omaya.
You're welcome.
Since all the above definitions they have given is too complex. That is in a law. When it becomes so complex, it becomes difficult to prosecute. Okay, now you are talking trick. Can you define trick before a judge? What do you mean? The concept is given. When a concept is given, concept is given. And a woman cannot claim rape when you are in a man's bedroom. A smart lawyer can only charge abduction, forceful abduction, and rape. So, to make this rape successful, after we have EFCC tracking issues of financial offenses, can't we have an institution like that, legal institution, National Human Gender Violence Against Minors and Rape Commission, who will have their duty as police officer, as we have the OCC, so that he can easily go and report the issue of rape and they follow it up there. You understand? Hello?
Okay, yeah, we heard you.
That is my contribution. We should establish a strong federal institution as we have like EFCC, that one can easily lodge complaint. Not only with violence, like somebody beating small children, beating women.
All right, quickly wrap up your thoughts so that we can respond.
And we have civil defense around. If they can champion that cause, civil defense, and by civil doing the society too.
Okay, thank you very much. We have to let you go because of our time.
Barrister Uche.
I didn't get the first part of his question, but I did get the part where he's talking about creating a different commission or agency altogether. I don't think it's necessary. We have a lot of agencies handling issues of rape and domestic violence. We have NAPTIP, we have the police, all the security agencies are involved. In short, everybody should be involved. If we have an agency, it means that all of us will be part of that agency. So let us know wherever you are now that we are part of the agency working against rape, sexual and gender-based violence. You are part of it. But then, if you get to the police station, in every police station, there is a desk. They call it JVC desk. It's called Juvenile Vulnerable Children Desk. It also takes matters of women too. Every police station has its own. So the moment you step into the police station, you talk to the front desk. If they know that it's an issue of rape, something that has to do with a gender-based violence, women or children, they will instantly direct you to the officer in charge.
What did you call the desk again?
I said it's popularly called JVC.
JVC.
JVC desk, but it handles women and children matter.
Okay.
Once you get there, they will direct you there.
Okay.
Please know that you, as a caller, as a person out there, you are part of this agency because we are in a crisis situation.
Absolutely.
We don't know who will be the next victim. And I think that what is driving this rape thing is silence.
Silence, absolutely.
It's silence. Because these rapists, they are not spirits.
Very
they
true.
live with us. They are our brothers.
We need to get more reactions on the phone. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome. What's your name? What's your contribution?
I'm Christian, calling from Omar.
Okay.
Okay, if the guys say something about consent, I want to ask something. I have my niece, she's 15 years old. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go
I
ahead.
have my niece. She's 15 years old, and there is this guy that always take her out from the house. Sometimes she will go out and stay for some days. Then after we will go and harass the guy. Later she will come back. And sometimes she will still go out from the house. So in this kind of case, what can we do with the guy and about the case?
Like I said, your niece at the age of 15 lacks the legal capacity to consent to sex. You should report guy to the police. He's been committing serial rape on your niece, and you people do not know it or don't appreciate it. Even if your niece goes to him and say that I want you to do it with me, he is an adult, or is he a child too? If this guy is an adult, he is legally responsible to ask that child to go home and to behave herself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is his responsibility as an adult in the society. He needs to be cautioned by law enforcement agents, if not try for rape.
Okay, ma'am. We have some questions here. Someone asks, I'm Henry from Abuja. My wife raped me. Should I sue her to court?
You don't have to sue your wife to court. You report your wife to the police. Once your case is established, it's the police that will take your wife to court for prosecution.
Okay.
Okay, just to
Okay.
just to add into the conversation.
All
So
right.
the first caller eventually asked a question, and I feel it's very, very offensive.
Okay.
Right. So he's asking, so what is the girl doing in your house? In the first place. So if the girl is raped, that means it's almost legally right, if that kind of thing, because he's talking about defined consent. But I feel that a girl comes to your house doesn't necessarily mean she wants to have sex with you in the first place. So, I mean, she has to consent to actually giving her body. And, consent, again, is even in the middle of the sex, she can withdraw the consent from you.
Exactly, and say
Okay.
no.
So if a girl says no in the middle of the
In the middle of the thing, and you continue. There's a tendency. Of course, it's rape in the first.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the
That's
middle
another
of
angle
it,
I
and
never
Absolutely.
knew, actually.
so maybe she saw, or maybe she's not in the right frame of mind again to continue with
True.
it. And then when she tells you to stop, you have to stop as well. That's what consent is. So you have to obey consent at all times.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
I
you so
believe
much.
that's the solution to rape. Obey consent
Yes.
at all times.
A woman's no is her no.
I'm glad this is coming from a guy. If I said it, they will say that I'm a woman.
Let's get more reactions. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Michael.
Yes, you're welcome.
My name is George. I'm calling from Alabama.
You're welcome, George.
Michael, I'm so delightful on this type of program. I'm so happy. But my own contribution will go to the parents. The parents, they have a big role to play in this. They should establish family altar. When there is family altar, the children will also understand that the children will also have the fear of God in them. Also, they should teach their boy child. They should also educate their boy child on this type of issue and tell them that see, also in case of anything, and also they should have this a good relationship that if their girl child or their boy child being abused, they can easily come to them and tell them, Mommy, Daddy, see, such. And also the government should also establish like a organization called Anti-Rape Commission, so that thereby if such thing happens, they can also come to them. It's not that if you want to come to them and they start telling you should bring money, bring this, bring that. Thank you.
I think I want to ask you the first one you mentioned about the altar. We've seen cases where pastors have actually done the rape. In situations like that, what do you, because if we are bringing religion, we've seen pastors, we've seen imam, we've seen religious authorities doing this. So in that case, what do you have to say?
That's where that's what I'm saying in terms of creating an organization whereby any victim can come freely and tell him and tell the person that look what happened to me, this, that.
Thank you very much, sir. I think it goes beyond the religion, to be able to.
But I feel what he's trying to drive at is that parents should have some sort of open conversations
Absolutely.
with their children, and make sure that they talk about most of these things, even if he's doing their morning devotion.
Okay.
Let them have most of these conversations there as well.
Okay, we have a question. Good afternoon, wonderful people in the studio. I'm Godfrey from Omaha. My question is, what if the rapist is under the influence of alcohol? In a situation where the rapist, okay, that's number 2 question, where the rapist is a family member, is wealthy.
A situation where the rapist family is wealthy to cover the case, what will the victim do?
The victim will first of all report to the police. The first thing is to speak out. After reporting to the police and you are afraid that the family of the rapist may turn the matter one way or the other, you can report to National Human Rights Commission. So we hold you a brief while the investigation is going on. That is part of the things we do. We make sure that the police do the right thing. And the thing is that this issue of rape has become so critical that even the police will not cover the person no matter how rich the person is. We have instances where somebody feels that he can influence the police with his money. The police actually went ahead and do the right thing. The last time I heard of the matter, the person is at a correctional center here in Omaha. So it is no longer business as usual because it's a crisis situation. People should not be afraid. What do you mean? If the person is rich, then the person should behave like a rich person, not become a criminal because of sex.
The question of being under the influence of alcohol.
That is rubbish. The person is responsible. Because before the person go to drink the alcohol, he has already finished planning it. That is what armed robbers do, or we've heard them do. When they finished planning robbery, then they'll go and smoke Igbo. So it will embolden them. So when you finish planning rape, how you are going to rape somebody, you go and drink and charge. And when you are caught, you say you are under the influence of alcohol. You are responsible.
Okay, we have a question here, a victim coming out saying, thank you for this program. I was a victim of this, but the main problem here is that my parent did not believe me. It went on till I was able to stand up for myself. If the government is willing to help and our parents not helping, I don't think it will be easy. Let a program of awareness be done in respect of parents to believe and listen to their children. Thank you. That's a victim speaking up there. Let's take this call, then we'll wrap up things this afternoon. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is
can you speak up, please? Good afternoon to you.
And I want to say that I want to ask a question. It is a girl of 15 years, and she has a girlfriend, and both of them have sex together. And is it rape, or I don't know? Can you explain it for us, please?
Okay, just to draw it in again, you are 15. If your boyfriend is above 18 and both of you are having sex, it is called rape. And then again, there are no provisions in our law at the moment, that takes care of the age range of 15. Maybe if both people are teenagers eventually. But then, I'm not sure it's going to be a consent thing, some sort of. But then, we have a teen coach in the house. She's going to handle that at the end of this part, because I don't know what 15.
Presenter here.
Yeah, but then to also talk about the person that said my parents didn't believe me, and that's why we have organizations like the Ministry of Women Affairs. That's why we have FIDA, and of course that's what Vika Foundation is there for again. So even if you cannot make a call, this is something that is happening to you. You should be able, if your parents don't believe you, then you should step up your own game, or maybe go walk into any of these offices and tell them this is what is happening to me, because it's not being done to your parents, it is done to you.
Absolutely.
So you need to take responsibility of your own life at that particular point in time if you're not comfortable with what's going on with you. So walk into any of these offices and maybe make a phone call to maybe the gender-based violence of both maybe Vika Foundation if you're in Abia State, or the Ministry of Women Affairs to actually attend to you.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
Okay.
It's
because
free.
We needed to establish that. A lot of people are saying it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it is free. Like, we've handled a lot of cases recently, and then we make sure we follow the system through.
Okay.
So we are, in as much as we understand that, a lot of financial commitments coming, and, as you're working into create these referral pathways, we're also ensuring that we eliminate that financial burden, on, victims. That is why the UNFPA is funding maybe Ministry of Women Affairs again to take up most of these responsibilities, so that this responsibility of finances goes out of your way. So you don't need to keep quiet or keep silent, about it. Once it is done, don't think about the financial implications. If you are raped, speak up, make a phone call, or go to any of these offices, and they will attend to you from beginning to the end, even at your medical processes as
Please,
well.
can you give out the number for the desk, before we forget, if people want to reach out to Vika Hope?
Okay, so for Vika Hope Foundation, it is 080-555-32557.
I'll take that again and gradually, please.
Okay, so for Vika Hope Foundation, it is 080-555-555-32557.
557.
Yes, I'll take it again. 080-555-32557.
Very important. And
so you can WhatsApp or call.
You can also make your complaint at National Human Rights Commission, Abia State. And of course, there is a number you can get in touch with, of course, to put your complaint across. Barrister.
Yes, for National Human Rights Commission is 0902 442 57 28
0902 442 5728. Very important. Well,
how did you grab that?
I must the girl that called that said her parents didn't believe her is very unfortunate.
Very.
If the parents do not believe you, it's okay. You can talk to some other person. You can call the numbers you've been given. You can also talk to some other person, because most of the reports we receive or that goes out in the media or in the open about particularly incest, it is other people that the person confide in that we talk about it.
Absolutely.
There are things that will happen in a family. The parents may not know what to do, and they are in denial. They say this can't possibly happen, but the fact is that it has happened. You just have to do something to make sure it doesn't happen again. You just have to do something to make sure that the person that did it pays for it. And if you keep silent, the person continues.
All right. Auntie Chichi Omesiaka,
Michael, it's been amazing doing this with you.
Thank you very much.
I think there should be a part 2 of this.
Maybe.
I think. Okay.
I believe the management will see to that.
Absolutely.
We want to really appreciate the partners, the National Human Rights Commission. Thank you very much, Barrister Uche Nwokocha. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. And also, Vika Hope Foundation, represented by Mr. Raymond, yes, Ukwa, representing the president of that foundation. Thank you very much, Deaconess Nkechi Pazu. We do appreciate. And also the other resource persons on this particular interesting conversation, talk about the Attorney General, the Abia State Attorney General, ably represented by Barrister Ngozi Obioma, and also the former Abia State House of Assembly member, a lady also who lent her voice to this very special discussion on rape, talking about
Honorable Blessing Wagba.
Yes, we do appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we need to let you know that this program is Flow 94.9 FM's contribution to campaign against rape as part of our corporate social responsibility to the environment. Thank you very much. I know you have a lot to say.
I don't want to say. I'm a presenter today. Nothing to say. I mean, we've been bombarded with so much information, and I want us. I mean, if you are facing this, please feel free to call the numbers we've given you. And remember, it is totally free, especially in Abia State. We are going to go all out to make sure that you get justice. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for doing this, and thank you, Flow FM, for lending your voice to this. Thank you.
And many thanks to the producer, Samson Eze, and also the video guy.
Yes, Sam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for making this possible. We do appreciate. The video is on our Facebook page, and of course, the edited version will be on our YouTube page later on. Many thanks to DJ Princey. Many thanks to David Oku, the sports guy right here, and of course Stanley and Solomon celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to you. My name is Michael Oni.
My name is Chineme Maumesaka.
The oddity of rape and gender-based violence transcends the trauma to a depiction of the degeneration of our moral values and the poor treatment of issues affecting the female gender. Here is an opportunity to examine our behavior and beliefs. Flow 94.9 FM in partnership with National Human Rights Commission, Abia State, and Vika Hope Foundation presents a virtual multi-sectoral interaction on rape and gender-based violence, the Abia situation. Speakers include President, Vika Hope Foundation, Dickiness Nkechi Ikwazu, Abia State Commissioner of Police, CP Janet Agbede, Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Uche Nwokocha, Abia State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Uche Ihediwa, and a former member of the Abia State House of Assembly, Dr. Blessing Wagba. Date, Friday, 10th July 2020 at 1 p.m. This discussion will be streamed live on Flow FM TV, various social media platforms, and aired live on Flow 94.9 FM and other radio stations. Plug in and let's unmask the monster.